Welcome, welcome, welcome. Welcome back to Bold Enough. I'm Linda Beard, author and host of the podcast Bold Enough. We've been on a journey so far. We've talked about what is it going to take to be bold enough. You have heard some stories about forgiveness. We've talked about grieving. And today I'm going to talk about what happens when you have that opportunity to grieve and to forgive. The product of that is healing. Healing. Just the word healing in itself sounds pretty good when you've been on a journey working very, very hard to be bold enough. So I'm going to continuously challenge you week after week to get out there and be bold enough. Once you get through that healing phase, you're ready. So for the audience that's just joining me today for the very first time, go back and listen to some of the previous podcasts because it's so important that you get the foundational components of what it takes to be bold enough. So the healing process is, once again, you have to go through the grieving. So most of the healing is you're trying to resolve the loss that you have experienced. It could be loss from a job or a career loss that you really, really wanted very badly, but it just didn't add up for you. It could be a death of a loved one. It could be a loss of a romantic relationship or friendship. It could be that you had a big loss in a competition of some sort. Loss is loss. There's not so much of a big loss and a little loss, even though that we would think that we could categorize them, because it's really all about you and how you interpret the loss. Some have asked me, how long does it take to heal? I've been asked, how long did it take for me to heal from even a 29-year divorce or marriage that I walked out and then went through that stage of divorce? It just really depends on you. There's no secret sauce on a time limit of grieving. But experts say that typically within, 2 to 3 years, you should be on your way of healing. So why am I asking you to be bold enough to heal? Because most of us have not grieved, we haven't forgiven, and so therefore, it just keeps stacking up. So I'm challenging you today to jot down those things that you have not grieved, those things that you have not forgiven yourself for or forgiven others, because you can only get to healing with the grieving plus the unforgiveness, and then that product or result is healing. So let's talk about healing a little bit more. I said that there are different kinds of things that we need to heal from, different types of losses. So what is keeping you from healing? Many times I have found, and in my own particular situation even, is that healing was hard for me because that there was someone else that was in my head. So that barrier was like, for instance, in my divorce situation, when I was grieving even before I was actually divorced and was trying to go through the process of forgiveness, even though I really tried hard, I still got caught up on the other person because that other person didn't want to see me happy. So many times we'll get caught up on delaying our healing because of someone else that's in the way. That's a barrier for us, but they shouldn't be a barrier. You are more important than that person. So remember that. You have more control over healing than you think. Also, if it's about losing people, and that's your delay in healing because you have to identify the grieving, you have to even forgive. If that's what's in your way, those individuals that are meant to be in your life will be in your life. It will take a process. They may be in and out of your life. Perhaps you are still struggling to get to that healing phase because you simply are just comfortable where you are. And so my question to you is, what is your value? What is your worth? Think about that, because when you delay healing, you're saying that I am comfortable where I am, or I'm just not worth it. Either one is not giving you the opportunity to live that best life. So let me just walk through a couple of things for you in my personal journey when I was going through the healing process. I had to stop listening to the wrong voices in my head. Those voices that would say, it's tough, you can't do this, or what would other people think? And you can't really talk about it. Talking out what's bothering you and how you are feeling is crucial to healing. Remember, I shared with you that I became such a phenomenal expert at just putting my pain in boxes and putting the lid on them. Well, that's not the way that I was going to heal. So I had one by one, I had to start taking off the lids to the boxes and start dealing with it. So I was the box lady. Perhaps you are a person that is drinking excessively to just dull the pain. Maybe you're eating excessively to dull the pain. Maybe you are working excessively to dull the pain because you're not ready to heal. Think about, what are you doing that's replacing that journey of moving forward to heal? Because healing is important to get to that great life. And what I want for you is to be so free. My prayer is that you'll be so free that you'll dance. You eventually will dance in life regardless of your circumstances, because you know that you have the ability to grieve and to heal, to forgive and to heal. And you can start doing that now. So what is it going to take for you to be able to do that? I want to also share with you that how you go through the process of healing and how you deal with life overall, others around you observe it, particularly your children. And if you can really make that decision to deal with your grief, to deal with forgiveness, then you are creating a pathway of healthiness, a journey for your children to learn how to speak how they're feeling earlier. So the biggest thing is we've learned not to communicate our feelings, not to talk about it. And we must talk about it. It doesn't have to be with everyone that comes along, but somebody that you trust, or get the help that you need from a specialist to talk through this process, because it is necessary to talk about it. If you do not speak it out loud, it deters you from healing. And then how do you know that once you start this grieving and forgiving, that you're actually healing? Well, for me, I can tell you that I was no longer angry when I thought about a situation that I have healed from. And in my book, it will talk in great detail of some very, very um, serious kinds of things that I was really struggling to heal from. And I want you to get that information out of the book, but I'll continue to use certain examples, in regards to a 29-year marriage I walked away from. But some of the other things that are in the book are some of my journaling. And as I'm sharing with you today to speak about it, to talk about it, I did that with someone else and got the help that I needed. But I still today, I'm confessing to you that there are a few things in that book that I need to reveal to family members around me before that book even comes out. But I'm going to be bold enough to do that because I've healed, but I'm not sure how they're going to feel about it when I share. And so sometimes healing is a catalyst to other folks when they hear about your story. How does that affect them? So that is a process of healing as well. Nothing that I have in my book is something that was done to them or something they did to me, but it is a part of my life story of individuals that we are close to that I had to forgive and I had to heal from. So it is a process. So I'm not saying that it's easy, but what I am saying is that it is worth it. So when you are on that path of healing, you will no longer be angry about it. There won't be a sting. It won't be so painful that you become so emotionally overwhelmed. That's another good sign that you're healing. After this 29-year marriage, when I walked away, there's no sting left. I've healed. In fact, I don't even think about the other person, honestly, once a month because I have a monthly commitment that I have to honor as a result of the divorce. But that is the only time. And when I honor that commitment every single month, I am not even angry about it anymore. And why? Is because I've healed and my life is so much better. So that commitment that I have monthly is worth it because the life that I'm living today is just so much better. So you won't be angry. It won't have that sting. And also you can talk about it and you can learn from it. And you can help others. And so that is the beauty about healing, is you can do it. You will get through it, and it will make such a big difference in your life. So the questions that I have is, are you ready to heal? Are you ready to heal? Yes, you're going to have to be bold enough to heal, but are you ready? Are you ready to maybe lose individuals in your life, whether it's temporarily or permanently? Because that may take place when you're healing. Not everyone in your life is good to be in your life. But a part of healing also is reconciliation. That forgiveness, a component is reconciliation. So you may gain other people that you have missed back into your life. But you have to take that first step to say that I am ready to heal and I am ready to be bold enough. When you began to heal, ironically, others around you want to heal too. because they see you. They see you now and they saw you before, and they want what you have. And so that's been my journey of Bold Enough, is as I have come in contact with others, they want to know, why am I so free? Why am I so happy? I'm living life. And that's because I did the hard work. I grieved, I've forgiven, and I've healed. And I know that I'm healed because those things don't bother me anymore. Keep in mind that your past layers that you have built, layer after layer, once you start breaking those things down and you're healing, from that point forward, you have to keep a short account and not let things build up, because life goes on. There will be things that will happen. You will have loss. Loss is a part of life. But don't ignore how you feel about the loss. I'm not sure how I actually really got into such a deep hole of just not talking and expressing myself. I think it just naturally sometimes happens. And perhaps you have fallen into the same boat where you feel like you're a burden if you talk about your problem. But what are we going to do if we don't talk about it? We just keep storing and storing and storing. And Barbara Jackson, who was on the podcast a couple weeks or so ago, she said it's like a teapot. Eventually, you're going to lose your mind. So what are you going to do about it? Are you ready to heal? Are you ready? Begin to jot down those things that you need to grieve from. Begin to walk through that journey. Again, I cannot say to you how long it's going to take you to get through the process of grieving. It depends on you and how much you have. But I can say to you that I had to stop listening to the negative voices in my head and the negative people around me. You have to get rid of toxicity, and you have to speak affirmation into your life. You can heal. You can forgive. Yes, you're strong enough to feel the grief and the pain. And yes, you're bold enough to talk about it. You have more control than you think you do. You just have to choose whether you're ready to be bold enough to heal. And are you ready to fight, to take the necessary actions to be you, to be authentically you? I did it. I'm not a super natural person. I'm a common, ordinary person. But I just knew that there was more for me, and that I have value and I have worth. And I was tired of being pressed on every side. And so I rose. I rised up. And I did something about it. So I'm challenging you, as I will continue to, get you moving towards that great life. Are you ready? Are you ready to heal? Are you ready to get the help that you need? I'm going to motivate through this podcast, but remember, you can come into the chat room after the show and there will be a specialist on to talk about the next steps to healing. You can get the help that you need. You do not have to do this alone. You don't. You're not alone. You just have to make the decision, I want a different life than what I have now. I want a better life. I want to be free. I want peace. I do not want to numb myself anymore by working excessively to ignore how I really, really feel. I do not want to drink excessively anymore to ignore how I feel. And remember, for me, I went gambling, and I'm grateful that I didn't end up with an addiction. So we all have something that we replace that pain with, whether we realize it or not. Shopping, sleeping, we have something. But let's not sleep our life away, drink our life away, whatever it is that you're doing now. And let's make that decision to continuously be bold enough. I have to wake up every day and say, I have control, and I am going to be bold enough to protect this great life and great joy that I have now. And I want that for you. But you have to decide your value. You have to decide your worth. And are you ready to heal? So there you have it. We have now really gotten into the deep water of what it's going to take to be bold enough. Not just the decision, I'm going to be bold enough, but the healing has to take place as a product of grieving and also healing. So for the next few weeks, I am going to have different folks on sharing their journey about how they were able to get to the healing. Because there's so many different stories out there and so many different reasons of loss. Whether you're young or you're old, it doesn't matter. It's never too late to heal. But what I do want you to do today and moving forward is when someone is trying to share with you how they are feeling, don't shut them down, because they're bold enough to express how they authentically feel. And whether they know it or not, they're starting the grieving process because they're identifying how they feel. Don't ignore it. You today may have even a young daughter or a young son that may be so distraught that they didn't win the soccer game or they didn't perform at their best. Don't ignore it. That's a loss to them. It may seem minor to you, but this is where we form good or bad habits and how we move forward living a great and free life. You may have not ever thought about that before, that a young person and a loss in a sports game could be devastating to them. But it is. That's their world. It's just as devastating to them as you as an adult are experiencing a loss. That's truth. So speak out. Don't ignore your feelings. Give the opportunity for someone else to express theirs as you're learning to express yours. You'll do great when you start to do that and you're on your way to this journey of healing. It's not easy, folks. I keep telling you it's not. And maybe by saying that, I'm causing you to pause, to move forward. But I don't want to cause you to pause. I want to be realistic and let you know that it is hard, but you're not alone. And that's the main thing. There are resources to help you through it. If there's no one around you that you can confide in or that will walk this journey with you, you're not alone. So reach out to me, lbeard at Bold Enough. So it's bold-enough.com. If you have a story and you want to share with our audience, I would love to hear from you. Because once again, so many people are healing from so many different types of situations. And hopefully we will touch your situation as the weeks continue. But this is deep stuff. This is the foundation of getting to be bold enough. And we'll lighten it up. I promise you, I will lighten it up and we'll talk about, being bold enough to love. And I can't wait to talk about that chapter in the book, Bold Enough to Love, because it's a beautiful thing once you get through the healing. Yeah, you got to heal first because you're not ready. You're not ready to really be vulnerable until you heal. So there you have it. Have a great week. Think about what I said in healing. If you have to listen to this 1,000 times, do it because you're just that important. All right, folks, I will see you next week. Thank you for allowing me to come into your world. Hopefully, you're getting more and more and more encouraged, and you're there. You're there to be bold enough. See you next week. Take care.